But one of the things I've noticed too is holding in those emotions, you kind of almost get like an internal, like you almost feel like there's an internal sickness going on. Like,
Totally,
and
because
this,
there literally is.
yes. And this virus, well, let's talk about the virus, but this virus feeds on that stress. Yep, I think we're good.
Cool.
All right. So Nikki, let's talk a little bit about, I know I mentioned a little bit about the emotional stresses that are going on, but from a standpoint from your background, talk a little bit about, we can all hear you. They're good. Let's talk a little bit about some of the ways that you feel that we can de-stress a little bit more.
Okay, sure. So first, I just want to talk a little bit about stress hormones. So
Perfect.
Why it's so important to understand like what exactly stress does to us on a physiological level. So when we experience stress, it creates a chemical reaction in the body. And it's basically like so when someone's going in for like a organ transplant, or someone has an autoimmune disease or something where, we need to suppress the immune system, we use stress hormones for this. So these are the same types of hormones that occur in our body when we are under stress.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just, a way to paint a picture so that we can understand that it's immediate. As soon as we feel stressed, and that chemical reaction occurs, it lowers the immune system, and it has an effect on the cells immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that's going on, we're being told, we're seeing a lot all over social media, just the effects of stress on the body. But that's not really helping us, because that doesn't tell us, how do we not become stressed,
Right.
And then people are trying to, use avoidance strategies or stay busy, or, try to control things that we really can't control in order to not be stressed, but it's just creating more stress because it's actually trapping the emotions in the body. We're not, instead of just sitting and feeling through our process, we're actually trying to avoid the stress altogether. Avoid the emotion. And that creates another issue. So it's like stress, yes, has a negative effect on the body, but so does suppressed emotions and repressed emotions. So now we have to, sit and think about how can we facilitate this process in a way that's not going to harm us.
Correct. Yeah.
And in my experience, I'm human too. Like, even though I know these things, I've been taught these things, and I've even lived them out in a lot of my experiences. Each time I'm faced with a stressful situation, like we are as a collective right now, I have to still go through the process and like gently walk myself through it. And for me, this looks like creating space to feel my emotions instead of run from them or avoid them or hide from them or suppress them or anything like that. It's actually creating space. And I feel like as a collective, as a society, we are being called to do just that. Our jobs are being taken from us. A lot of things that we're attached to are being taken from us, and we're basically just being told to sit down and wait this out. But
and it's funny because it's the first time in a long time, I think, that I agree 100%. Like, having to deal with stress and emotion myself. I mean, from what I've, in the past, I've allowed stress and emotional kind of avoidance to do to my body has been crazy. And I'm learning from that now day to day. And it's actually kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing here, not just in a podcast, but why I'm doing my career. But one of the things I've noticed too is holding in those emotions. You kind of almost get like an internal, like you almost feel like there's an internal sickness going on. Like,
totally, because there literally is.
Yes. And this virus, well, let's talk about the virus, but this virus feeds on that stress. And I think that us being forced to be indoors for the very first time ever is really allowing us to learn, you know, what it is that we want in our life for the first time, as opposed to
Right.
somebody else really dictating it. And that's scary.
Totally.
Stress is scary.